I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Wednesday, November the 9th. Brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. Is structural soundness important to you? Unlike other breeds, Brangus breeders haven't chased fads or selected for single traits, which negatively affects structural soundness. Consider going Brangus. For more information or to find a breeder near you, visit gobrangus.com. Doing this here on Tuesday afternoon, a little bit early this time because I'm going to start drinking heavily and watch this election come in and try to decide whether it's time to celebrate or drown our sorrows. And we really haven't talked, or I haven't talked on this video much about the election. And really there's not been a lot of talk about what the election is going to do on agriculture, especially the cattle markets. I think as a general rule, most agriculture people, and especially production agriculture people, are conservative by nature, and normally they lean that way. In all the groups that I've been in the last 6 months or a year, it seemed that way. Everybody was pretty much pulling for Trump, and it's not just because Hillary kind of used the cattle futures to get some crooked money there, but for a lot of other reasons, and just because they're conservative by nature. But so what's going to happen with this election and the cattle deal? Well, depending on what happens, you're probably going to have a lot of the guys very depressed if Trump doesn't win, and they could affect their moods a little bit on whether they want to invest in a lot of cattle or how they want to do things. But probably after a couple of weeks goes on, we'll just go back on to the same way we were before. As far as issues, that TPP that Trump was against and Hillary ended up being against too, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association was really for that, because they said it would allow us to immediately start shipping beef into China and make it a lot faster process, and it could really make an impact on our exports. So probably not going to see that way one way or the other. So there's not a whole lot of issues really there. Probably going to be a lot more regulation if Hillary gets in. Well, the thing I've been worried about is what if production agriculture becomes even more politically incorrect, and maybe the people will think that we shouldn't be producing these cattle and hogs and everything for meat, and maybe we should just all become vegans and hug trees and things like that. And that's probably the thing that scares a lot of people the most. It sure scares me the most, but I guess we'll all find out that about the same time. Look at the board here. Live cattle on Monday, December contract was down $1.07. Tuesday was up 95 cents to end the day on Tuesday at 102.60. Feeder cattle board, January, Monday was down 160, Tuesday was up 297. And a lot of your publicly traded markets were all up on Tuesday because they felt that Hillary was going to get in, and for somehow that just kind of made them more comfortable, because wasn't sure what all changes there would be if in a Trump administration. But January feeders ended the day on Tuesday at 119.22. Now your November spot feeders up just 32 cents, trying to align themselves with what's actually going on at 124.40. Your CME cash feeder cattle index is elevated at 126.46 because this time of the year it's heavily influenced by those northern plains sales, and they can put a lot more of those cattle numbers in there at one time than they can the smaller sales in the southern plains that don't get the big prices. So that's why it's elevated up there. Your real-time index automated market report on Cattle Market Central is right in there tight with the board at 124.19. Look at your weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade. A whole lot lighter than the previous week at 80,700 head compared to the previous week's trade of 127,800 head, but still quite a bit bigger than the same week a year ago at 63,900. But Your live weighted average price on steers 104.31, which was up 16 cents. So that was actually pretty good. What's kind of disappointing is the Northern Plains, which usually sells most of the dress sales. The dress steer average was 162.24, which was down $1.38. And with the pretty wide spread between the choice and select cutouts, the northern guys should at least be getting what the southern guys are getting, if not more. But anyway, that's where we're at on that. Did have a few pens of cattle sell Monday in Nebraska at 103 when the board was down there, because I'm not sure, they just got scared there a little bit or whatever. But that's not going to be the market unless something falls out of bed. We should be in there at least steady to maybe a little stronger, because these packers are going to need cattle. And you feeders, don't just puke them up. These packers need cattle. They don't have a lot of captive supplies for this month, so make them pay up for those things. Look at Oklahoma City cash feeder cattle market, 6,300 head. Feeders $1 to $3 lower. Steer calves $2 to $5 higher. Remember, we talked about that. Got a little drink on this wheat, and they're going to need these wheat cattle. Heifer calves steady to $2 higher. Joplin 3,800 head. Yearling steady to $3 lower. Calves $2 to $6 higher. They've got wheat up in that direction too. You look, Philip, South Dakota was having another big sale here on Tuesday, and those prices coming in pretty good, but they didn't have any. Up until the middle of the afternoon, didn't have any 500-pound steers, bringing up to $1.50. Well, with all that farmer feeder demand and everything that's going on, the best cattle in the world up there, you come down here into wheat country closer, and Pratt, Kansas there, you look on Cattle Market Central, they had a special auction on Monday there and had 106 head of 520-pound steers, bring $1.50. So that's the highest price paid on those light calves so far. But that's 3 minutes, and we'll talk to you on Friday.